the weekly wave. Oh, I can't spend the nose. The weekly wave. Oh, can you tell me home? The weekly wave. Did you see it? The weekly wave. I'm glad you stopped by. Take him to him, baby. Take him up again. Oh, can you tell me who?
Yes, exactly. We can get the wave.
Yeah.
I got wrong. Episode 101 of the Weekly Wave with Quentin Roberts. Where the fuck have you been, though, bro? Like,
well, your dad employed me.
I know. I have a hard time explaining that to people who are like, who's the videographer that just occasionally shows up? I'm like, that's Quentin. He works for the family in other ways. And they're always like, that sounds sketchy. I'm like, good, because it's way more corporate than I like to admit, but whatever.
If you hang out in Matt's basement long enough, you
get hired.
You might get a job.
What's it been like to go back to an office job?
I mean, it's been great. I've worked an office job ever since I got out of the military, basically. I like it. It works for me.
Do you think because of the structure you learned in the military, having something that's more regimental like that than freelancing is the better way to go?
Probably. Freelancing, it just kind of haphazardly happened. I was working for Skyline Corporate in an IT gig as a sysadmin for like 2 years, and I just got burned out of it and went to another job that didn't work out, and then I was really done with corporate life. So that's when I took a break. And I didn't want to go back.
How long did we work together during that period of time? Like, just like the back end, really? Maybe
most of it. I mean, I feel like...
Is that like a year, maybe?
Yeah, maybe a year after I got out of Skyline. At one point, I just got a camera and started filming bands.
You didn't shoot before that at all?
No, zero.
That's crazy! But you had always been the gaming type, the interested in tech type.
Yeah.
So how quickly did you go from camera in hand to the editing side of things? Because I feel like that's the bigger bitch of the two.
Yeah, so I definitely didn't want to do photography. I wasn't into stills. I wanted to do video primarily. So there was a learning curve to, like, you know, what kind of gear do I need? And getting that, probably jumping the gun. What was your question again?
Well, I guess, like, when you jumped into that, like, you were already a tech guy, per se. So, like... What kind of got you into, I want to do video, I want to edit these types of things?
So I guess I got into editing because you just kind of have to if you don't know somebody that already does it. And at the time, I guess I knew somebody that edited it, and I would hand them the footage, and I wasn't always happy with what it was, or, you know, maybe they didn't want to spend as much time as I did on it, so that's when I got into editing. And I wouldn't say I'm great at editing. I know how to work the application.
Yeah.
Which is like the tech side of things. I've got the acumen for technology and applications. I can understand them, you know, figure them out and make it work.
Yeah. Well, I think you have a care for storylines, and I don't know where that really comes from. Like, were you a kid that grew up watching a lot of movies, reading books? Like, no shit.
No. So yeah, I picked up the camera late in life, and it's certainly not my profession by any means. You know, IT it was for a while because I wasn't doing anything else, and that was awesome. And while doing that, I also just happened to find this local director, Scott Fredette, who's like a big mentor to me, a good friend. He does a lot of crazy work, and I mean, I could name all of his stuff, but just check out his website.
Exactly. You showed me that one particular Jack White bit that he did, and like the Foxy stuff. It's like he's
done a lot of stuff for Foxy, Shazam out of Cincinnati. He's done a lot of stuff for Y, which is another local Cincinnati band. But I know he's shot like Katy Perry, and he's worked with Jack White. I don't remember the particulars on it, but I started hanging out with him, and he would invite me to random shoots, not necessarily music videos, but whatever it was that he could use me on, I would join. And I mean, he taught me a lot, so there was that.
And I feel like finding that kind of mentor that actually had steps to take, places to be, is what someone in that kind of field needs the fuel to be hungry. You know, especially when you're someone like yourself that likes to learn quick and get better quickly. It's like you're really not going to stay in the same place for too long. I feel like it's amazing, though, in those higher-end productions how hierarchical it can be. You know, if you're a grip, you're at the bottom of the totem here versus what is a director's role, really? And how many people do you need in the room to fulfill that, too? I
mean, I was just on a shoot with Scott, first one in a while, for like a pickleball racket brand. Is basically
no
what
shit.
It was for. And I don't think it was paid. It was just for fun. Him, the director, and a producer, you know, a bunch of actors and actresses, and a photographer, and we, you know, spent 1.5 days in a studio and filmed as much as we could. And
that's rad.
I'm basically out of the process. I was gripping, basically. Not even that, really. I was just doing what Scott told me to.
It's such an interesting thing, though, to say, like, everything needs video content, okay? And honestly, paddleball is something... Pickleball is something that you do see getting more and more just popular in general. Like, I heard some dudes that work at the firehouse talking about, like, how, okay, we started getting too violent in basketball, so we moved to pickleball, and it's everything we need. And I'm like, what a great testament to what pickleball is. It's like, it's a less physical, highly aggressive, highly intense sport for people.
Yeah, I've never played pickleball, but after that shoot, I'm like, I'm going to do it.
Dude, sure. I see everyone playing it from, like, you know, athletes that don't play their main sport anymore to older people down at the Evendale Rec Center when I'm out there trying to play tennis, and I'm shitty at that, too. So it's like, pickleball might be the move for two. I'm garbage. My hand-eye
pickleball.
Okay, yeah, I'll fucking roast you,
like,
bro.
It's tennis light.
You could come in name brand club. What do you want to call it? Racket?
I mean, I think it's a racket.
Racket, but it's a wooden plank. You paddle. I'll use an actual ping pong paddle, and I'll roast your ass. Smaller radius, higher precision.
You use like a wiffle ball. A wiffle ball too is basically what it is.
I'll use my teeth and come at you with this, bro. Like
you're gonna lose. I don't think we've ever competed or played sports together.
There was that one time that I got to watch you just wade in the water while I casually sat on a platform, which I consider like, it's like being the quarterback that's comfortably in the pocket while an O-lineman does like the worst job of his life.
You're talking about
that Michigan shoot
in the lake.
Yeah, Lake what?
I don't remember what lake.
But it was miraculous watching you really get after it. I mean, I didn't know you were an athlete before I saw your quads go to work that day. Just fucking trudging.
I was not wading water with my camera. The lake went like nips high.
Yes.
So I was standing.
Well, what would you consider wading water? When you're kicking,
your feet don't touch and you have to float yourself. You know?
That's some SEAL shit. I mean, what division were you in?
I was in the Marine Corps.
When did you enlist in the Marine Corps again?
Probably like early 2013.
So you're how old? Like 20?
I mean 2009. I'm 33.
How old were you when you enlisted?
19.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't tell my parents.
Early bloomer. Didn't
I just signed the paperwork and like told them a couple months later.
What an angsty, not angsty thing to do. Like
they weren't gonna pay for college, so I mean, what did they expect me to do?
Well, that's fair, and I think you know, that access to education is one of the things that like makes a volunteer military base a good thing, actually, because these people care about getting it done and getting out and being healthy and being happy after that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Versus like if you just get people that don't want to be there, we're gonna end up getting our ass kicked by every other country on this planet.
I mean, by the time you get there, you don't want to be there.
Fair enough.
And like when I was there, most of the people were just looking forward to get out. You know.
Yeah. I can't imagine the feeling of being trapped by your circumstances, where it's like how many years you got left, how many days you got left, how long do you guys sleep in those barracks, drinking from that pallet of water. You know,
yeah.
I thought about that the other day. I was like, just think of Quentin just chugging a plastic bottle of water off a pallet.
Oh yeah, we used to have a water drinking contest, just because I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Good. Good to know the tax dollars are going somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they're still going on our belly at least.
Yeah, it needs to be consumed. I mean, that's what Liquid IV is advertising they do, except you do it for real. I
mean, we would get IVs like non-medical for non-medical reasons, but if we got too drunk, like in the barracks.
Nice.
Because there was always IV bags that medics had who were nearby. and plenty of needles and all the gear that you would ever need.
Yeah, and plenty of people that are capable of hooking you up as well.
Yep.
Where it's also like, I feel like it's almost like a badge of respect at that point. It's like if everyone's doing it, you're probably doing it at that point. There's a lot of peer pressure, I assume.
I had no qualms about it. The moment I saw somebody doing that, I was like, I'm getting drunk tonight, and we're doing that tomorrow morning.
What were your beverage options while you were deployed?
Afghanistan is a dry country, I'm pretty sure.
Sucks to suck.
I think maybe I saw like hooch, or somebody did, or I saw a picture of it maybe one time that was just like a bunch of rotten fruit in a bag.
Okay, and hooch is a moonshine, right?
Like I guess. I mean, it was basically alcohol.
Yeah, every time I've been offered hooch, it's been moonshine, but when you say that, I'm like, okay, like you said, just fermented fruit, just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? I can't imagine why an entire country would be completely dry. It's like booze has no purpose in your life,
well,
but I guess
it's I would argue their religion, probably.
Yeah.
I think it's a dry
I don't think
religion.
that's the best choice either. I think my religion incorporated wine from third grade on. Okay, like
you got the good one. Gambling and drinking,
totally kosher. Yeah, exactly. DraftKings and a bottle of Mad Dog 2020. Like,
no problem. Couple Hail Marys.
I'm a modern day Christian. You know, and you're in the groove, baby.
It's a good one to be in.
Yeah, but that's fucking 19 is such a weird time in your life to make any kind of drastic decision like that.
I mean, it's perfect for the military, right? Like
malleable,
you gotta
like
get
that.
them young and brainwashable.
Do you really feel like there's any age that's not brainwashable if you put them through that kind of rigor? Anyone that goes through boot camp is getting broken. Like,
I mean, so the cutoff to enlist, I'm pretty sure, is like 29 and a half. So that's probably when I'd say you're less brainwashable.
Oddly enough, I saw someone say on Facebook the other day, like, I didn't know who I was till I was 30. I'm like, that's an interesting observation to make because that's pretty late in the game, honestly.
Maybe you just don't accept who you are until around that time.
Yeah. Well, also, I'm reading as someone that's not 30, thinking that I want to feel like I know myself, but I think there's some honesty that we can all learn from by people making that kind of statements. Like, wait till you get here and you turn around and start to digest what that was.
What I always say is, like, do you think your 5 year, if you look at yourself 5 years ago, were you stupid? Do you consider yourself stupid? Well, you're probably going to have the same feeling in 5 more years.
Yeah, exactly.
So think about that.
It's kind of a redundant feeling. It's just like you could have done better if you knew what you know now.
Yeah, of course.
But like that's why time travel clearly doesn't exist because no one's winning the lottery 5 times in a row.
That's not true. I'm pretty sure people have.
I'm pretty sure there's one guy that's won twice. And he clearly rigged it, they say. You know?
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
I heard about that recently on an episode of Rogan. I was like, I can't imagine the sadness of winning the lottery and just realizing that, like, people stopped caring about you the moment they realized you had enough money to change their life. Like, you just become a pot for people to pick on.
Yeah.
You ever played the lottery? You ever bought a lotto ticket?
I mean, I've bought some. I don't think I've ever bought a scratch off, but like my dad would buy them and then give me a couple.
For Christmas, we'd always get scratch offs on my dad's side of the family, and like you'd just be like 11 grandkids just running up whatever that fucking dust is.
My girlfriend's family does that. There was a lot of. It was like a ball of Saran wrap, like a tiny ball, and then you wrap it up, and then you wrap a lottery ticket in it, and then you keep wrapping it and. You could put a 20 in it, and then it was basically just lottery tickets until it was the size of a basketball, and you like take turns ripping it apart, and you get to keep whatever falls out.
Oh, and you only have a certain amount of time to unravel?
Yeah. So by the end of it, and by the time the ball was done, we were all just like 12 people Christmas Eve or something in silence, just nothing.
What an American tradition of just like, let's waste some bubble wrap and toss some lotto tickets up.
I had never done that, but my girlfriend was not surprised by the activity.
I always found I did want to tell you that one time my brother David gave me a fake lotto ticket, like one of those like big winners that's just like a fucking lie, like with these other lotto tickets. And just watched me embarrass myself in front of my entire family, like way too excited on Christmas. And my brother's crying, laughing while like I'm screaming to the mountaintops. I won $1,000. I'm like the happiest 5th grader you've ever seen. And then I realized that my brother was just trying to make me look like an idiot. And I think that kind of soured me on gambling. It's just like
I'm not a big gambler at all.
The hope that came along with that.
You never know. The casinos might be tricking you again, and your whole family's going to come out behind a curtain and just start pointing and laughing at you again.
Man, I don't understand what the scam is, though, with like a DraftKings or something like that, where they're like, here's $10 free to come play with. It's like, how do you give away that much free money without having major losses, unless people are just losing their ass after that $10?
I mean, people pour their money into that app.
You really think so?
Yes.
And maybe not. It's not that app in particular, but it's so many of these things where like they're telling you it's another get-rich-quick scheme, and people just
basically
pour their life into it.
I mean, at least with gambling in that capacity, you have a chance to win money. There's pay-to-win video games where you can spend. There's no cap. There's just unlimited money you could spend, and the game just keeps going, and it's made to just suck money out of people.
Like Angry Birds?
That's a good game. These pay-to-win games, you wouldn't even recognize because you wouldn't be interested in the least.
Word, but some people have been sucked into them.
Oh yeah, plenty.
I wonder how much money is spent by minors on their parents' credit cards throughout a year on discrete phone game purchases, like little things like that. How much GDP could you attribute? Is that 11% of what we spend as a country? Because it seems pretty fucking high, you know?
I definitely never used my parents' cards.
I don't think I would either, but I think there's kids definitely doing that now.
I would have. I just was not capable of doing that as a kid. I just didn't think, I never thought about it. I would always see the 1-800, get this toy late at night.
Yeah.
Got to be 18 to call. And I was like, well, I'm out there.
But think about, like, okay, you're a kid with an iPhone. You're on your parents' iCloud. Their credit card's already hooked up to it. You don't have to say a damn word. Like, I watch my 4-year-old nephew, like, download games that his parents don't want him to have and then delete those games when he gives the phone back. Like, these kids are on top of it.
Yeah. I mean, remember learning how to clear your search browser history?
Yeah, that was an important day. That was also, like, I was a kid in a household with a shared computer. And we had crashed them from LimeWire, and like I watched my siblings do a lot of dumb shit to those devices because it was just the perfect time period. And I'm just little brother who's like, I didn't do it, but I watched. I reaped all the benefits.
Yeah.
My PSP had Thunderstruck on it. Okay, and I didn't pay for Thunderstruck. That was the first device I had music on to walk around with. It was a PlayStation Portable.
Dude, it's crazy. We hang out relatively often and know each other well, but like. When I was doing that, it was not PSP and what you're describing. I was trying to convince my parents, like, this CD that comes in the mail is going to give us the internet, and this one's free. We got 15 free minutes, and the phone's not going to work. Why I use it?
Explain that. So you're going to buy a CD in the mail.
They would just come. When AOL was a thing and, like, internet hit, like households for anybody, they would just send you random CDs, and it would typically be the newest AOL, which was the application you used to get to the internet. And they had a couple things on there you could click, like news and some other stuff. But if you didn't know URL, you were SOL.
How fascinating. And then they're going to charge you for the minutes you go over that at that point in time?
That was before like subscription-based stuff. Your internet, it would just be done.
Yeah.
You can't connect to the internet anymore. But you'd have to buy like more. I don't know if it was minutes for a little while, but it was like eventually it got to a whole month of internet on this CD.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting. Like you're saying, like we're close enough in age that we can see eye to eye on some things. But like something like that, you were the perfect age to see this be kind of a shit show for a year of your life, and then everything changed from there, and everything changed from there. Like it was an exponential boom.
It was a shit show because I remember. When I had AOL and I had internet access and AIM, I was going home and talking to strangers on the internet every single day. And my parents had no idea, probably nobody's parents did at that time, that there was any danger.
Do you think that was an important part of internet socialization for our generation, though? Like realizing that here are a world of strangers that you shouldn't tell a lot to, but you could tell everything
Nobody
to.
told me not to tell a lot to any of these people, that's for sure.
Really?
No, by any means.
I think the really weird question is, like, for how long were people not aware that you probably shouldn't send naked pictures of yourself via AIM or something ridiculously public
you could
like
send
that?
pictures like that. They were emojis.
Do you remember the first time that it was like people were sending nudes on these devices, like what that device was? Because I remember
Razor.
I was gonna say
Razor,
flip phones.
Yeah.
The chocolate. It was just
Razor flip phone, and they're not great. I still have pictures from my flip phones from like a Modest Mouse concert, and it's just like a blur of yellow.
I thought where you were going with that is like I still have some of my nudes from my But you know, like the if you pull up one of those old devices, like some of them still have charge. That's miraculous. Like, are we using a different type of lithium? Like, why don't batteries last like that anymore?
They had less to do. Used up less.
Fair enough. There's not so many like background applications running.
Yeah, your GPS location, your navigation, and cell phone service, and internet access, and Apple messaging and whatever else just taking up the battery.
Yeah, man. I just started learning about TeamViewer with like using your own computer remotely and whatnot.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's super nice until like someone tells you like you really can't leave these programs just running on a computer plugged into the wall because it will destroy your device from the inside.
I mean, what if somebody hacks you?
No, I think like if you just run your computer in the ground by letting something heavy always pump on it for no reason.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, but that's what I do to my computer. I leave it on most of the time.
No, but you're also someone that's knowledgeable enough to swap out the components that you burn out and whatnot.
Yeah, but I don't. My computer's fucked right now. It's crashing on me once or twice a day, typically.
Do you think going into a corporate job that has so much tech to do, you've done less pestering with your own equipment?
Probably not. The working the corporate life in IT, it's given me more opportunity to use like better hardware, cooler programs, cooler software, enterprise level stuff instead of just consumer grade.
That's got to be a mindfuck to some extent. Just like the capacity as the programs change and as you buy a bigger subscription for whatever that is. Like I think about something simple like HubSpot. Like me and my pops talk about this all the time, and he has a totally different idea of what this can do than I do. Where
is
it's
this your
like,
paid sponsorship by HubSpot?
If I had HubSpot, I'd actually have an email list, and I don't use an email list. So
you don't use an email list?
HubSpot, why don't you throw me some cash? I'll get a fucking email list.
But I know you got the money, HubSpot.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's got the cash over here, but that's a list of 200 people. Whereas, like he thinks in increments of 5 figures on a list.
Yeah.
But it is crazy once you get the internal routing right. Watching these things run just steady stream has to be so satisfying, like intense problem solving.
I mean, I do some coding, which is like the best thing.
Really?
That's a gratification when you get some code to work. That's unlike anything else.
Really?
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's just like I feel like it almost sounds like building the what was the little cars from when we were kids?
Hot Wheels.
Yeah, building the Hot Wheels track, and it can make the loop on its own.
Oh yeah, first try that thing makes the loop. It's your joy.
Yes,
your
exactly.
Joy-ish.
You feel like you've really cracked the code on this one.
Yeah, for sure.
That's interesting, man. What in your personal life has kind of been like the project hobby though? Like, are you flipping on any games right now? Are you digging in?
I mean, I go from game to game. It's kind of like, trying to find something on Netflix almost. But
Yeah. I feel like it's also a sociality thing where it's like you're in a large group of people that are flipping between games, just kicking it on. Is it Discord where everyone?
Yes,
Okay.
Discord. Yeah, we got a bunch of people that hang out on Discord, and we play our video games and try to play stuff together when we can. But even when we're not, we're still in Discord.
Yeah.
Hanging out, showing each other what games we are playing.
So Discord is it like a Zoom meeting?
I mean, it's better than Zoom.
Well, I know it's
everybody
better
can
than
share
Zoom.
their
Okay.
screen.
Interesting. So everyone has 2 screens running pretty much. You have your game and you have yourself, and you can toggle between who you're watching, or you can watch everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
There's streams. You can turn off individual people. Like, you can basically make it whatever you want. Pop it out.
Is it similar to Reddit, and where it's like here's threads of things, and here's my personal channel?
It's Slack. You know what Slack is?
No, I have no idea. So you just kind of.
There's like text channels, there's voice channels, which, you're jumping into a digital room with voice and video if you have a camera.
Okay.
And then that's where you can stream as well. Or, the text channels, you post the URL of whatever you want that's relevant to that text channel. I mean, there's a lot more that Discord can do, but it's really just me and my friends that use it.
Fair enough, but I think the Discord is kind of the silent conversation that's happening on the internet between a lot of the streaming world. It's one of those things I still don't really understand that well.
You got to have a really big like maybe not a really big following, but you have to have a serious following. Because I don't know how many artists that have active Discords are actively managing those Discords, or rather, I feel like it would be, really big fans that maybe work with the artist or management that run those Discords as moderators and admins and whatever.
Yeah. But are there Discord spaces for songwriters coming in there just bullshitting about tunes and guys talking about loopers or live sound seminars?
I mean, there's definitely that Discord probably exists somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like a music nerds Discord or like music freaks something that's like, that's what they're all about. And that's all they post, and they share books about it and articles. And
yeah. Well, it feels like no one ends up on a Twitch stream if it doesn't go on a Discord somewhere. Like, it's kind of like the way you communicate people to go to that URL. Because if you get on Twitch, it doesn't look like there's hundreds of thousands of streams going on. There's the 10 most popular streams that you can sift through, and then you can go deep diving into bullshit.
Well, I mean, if you look it up by game, or there's the just chatting, and I know there's like a lot of DJs on there. I know there's singer-songwriters, a few of them, but I rarely see them on like the front page of Twitch.
Yeah. When I got on today, I saw a guy immediately, and I think that's just because I'm subscribed to like acoustic guitars or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still a world that I'm eager to navigate, but it's just confusing as hell.
Oh, speaking of, I'm going to show you this TikTok.
Yeah, please do. This is the song that you got.
It's like, so I've been, I found this guy through the song that he posted. His little song went viral, and now he's like, they're pushing him to finish the song, which I think he has, and he's probably about to release it on Spotify.
It's interesting you say that, because I think that's like the most pivotal change in music through TikTok is people post their demos and fans encourage production.
I mean, they're not even the little tidbit of the song that he posted was, it's really good, and it's catchy and fun, and it's perfect for TikTok. And I think that's what made most of his fans. I don't know. I didn't look at his Spotify before or after this video or anything, and I don't know that he has a Spotify, because I guess this song is on only on Bandcamp right now. But it's called I think it's called "We Love the Cops," or that's what you should look for. On TikTok. Start it over though. Scroll, yeah.
Is there a lot of other videos using this audio right now?
Twitch, or they're like duetting it and
cool. People just singing along to it and whatnot. What an odd pressure for success to come from such a lo-fi production to take it to its best production. Like, how much do you think of TikTok content is oriented around the ability to be able to go from consuming it silently to flipping on the audio and enjoying it more?
I can watch. I'm a huge TikTok fan, right? So I can watch it on mute, no problem, and it doesn't bother me as long as the video has captions most of the time, right?
Well, exactly. It's like there's this barrier of getting users to really buy into your content, because some people are just scrolling silently. So if you don't have good moving captions that make me feel like I can tell the story without audio, it's like, you never would have thought with a song you need to get people to turn it on and listen to it with the video, but you kind of do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think over time it's going to be more like that, where artists just post all their songwriting ideas on there. Like the paper trail of this hit is going to start on TikTok, and people are going to say this song, not that song, and GoFundMes are going to be brought up saying, hey, if you like this song I'm working on, this EP, you help me get this song out, you're going to get an NFT of the stem or something like that.
NFTs are over, sure.
You really think so?
I don't know, but they're not on the news anymore, and I was never into them.
Yeah, I don't think easily replicable copies of like internet content is really going to be valuable.
No,
but I
do
think
vinyl or CD or T-shirt or something signed.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think if you told me like I can buy if I could buy the guitar solo from Purple Rain, just that guitar part, what's that worth to somebody? Like, someone would pay for that file, that original file, if you could claim it.
I guess you get the copyright to the song or something, and you get royalties.
Well, not even to the song. It would be just the file.
don't think you can copy or just the file. That's like the masters, right?
Well, no, because the master's like the mix of all those parts. I'm talking about like you isolate. It's just Prince playing guitar, because you buy just that piece and you have the original, and that's the NFT.
I mean, as long as it hooks up to the blockchain or whatever, right?
I guess that's what I don't understand is blockchain. That shit's confusing,
It's
man.
been explained to me so many times, and my level of understanding it ebbs and flows.
Why don't you give us like the best interpretation?
Nope.
Really?
I don't even want to. I don't like cryptocurrency. Like, not really.
Crypto's definitely over. I'm going back to dealing copper pennies, okay?
Yeah, like it's
because a copper's worth more than the penny. You know what I mean? Like that's what people don't get.
Pennies are mostly nickel, I think.
Damn it. That's
it's like a copper coating or something.
Well, we're definitely getting screwed then by the banks. Okay, let's move this in that direction. I recently switched banks because this was okay.
From where to where?
I'm not going to start putting names on the internet, but because one of these banks does employ me to play their corporate parties, so
what?
I'm not going to tell you which bank, but
local, so it has to be local.
Hey, don't start playing guess who.
Is it a credit union or a bank?
I only put my money in places that you wouldn't put your money, so you wouldn't even know them. Don't worry about it, Q. But I was having a difficulty with my mobile app. I put most of my checks through something like that because I like to keep a paper trail when I do my accounting at the end of the year. Because when you're 1099ing as a musician, you have to do income by the city you earned it in. So I have to go through and make an Excel sheet at the end of the year of every single check, where it's from and how much it's for my CPA. I had to go to the bank and give them my actual checks because their app was down, and they were off by a little bit of money. And by a little bit of money, on a check deposit.
Mobile deposit?
No, on a physical check deposit at the bank, me to a teller. They were off by $7,500.
Were you trying to cash it?
Yeah, no, I was trying to put it in my bank account.
So you just deposit it?
Yeah, I'm just...
And then they did deposit it, but
yes,
plus or minus that much.
Plus $7,500.
And then you withdrew it all in an ATM, and right?
I thought about
the real reason
I
we're
thought
not
about
naming the
ghosting.
bank.
No. I thought about straight ghosting. I was like, I wonder if that's what happened here, and if I should just. It was like, no, you can't get away from a bank like that.
I think if you could liquidate that number off your screen into cold hard cash, I think you're a free man.
You think it's probably legal? Well, too late for that. I was just angry about this because one day I go back and it's the real number that it should have been. But I'm telling my fiance like, hey, I'm doing good on saving for this house, and it's like, and then I gotta be like, well, actually, I'm broke, honey.
So you didn't realize it was up that much.
Yes, exactly. I assumed that they could do their job competently, and apparently that's not the case. So I'm switching banks.
Gotcha. So my recommendation, SoFi, their interest rates, they're great.
Yeah. I thought your recommendation was going to be always take the money in cold hard cash and run.
I mean, in that scenario you just described, yes.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's why I got to become some kind of prince so I can start to scam people for money and cash them immediately,
Be prince? Some sort of prince?
If I'm going to run internet scams, I got to be some kind of prince. You can't be some kind of, regular dude running internet scams.
I guess you're right.
Yeah. I mean, if I really want to start getting the big bucks, the money's going to be on RuneScape. We all know it.
I don't play that game.
You never played RuneScape?
No, I don't think so.
That's kind of trashy of you.
Did you play the remastered version?
Absolutely not. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I don't really like it.
Did you play World of Warcraft as a kid?
I mean, and as an adult.
Okay.
Just canceled my subscription like 2 months ago, maybe.
No way. Was that painful?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I played it a lot when I was younger before the military, and I've played it a handful of times since, but never really got into it.
It seems like probably one of the most social video games that the world's ever seen.
It's not that social. It's just,
Really?
No, not really.
I feel like I've heard of so many people being like, I met my best friends on World of Warcraft.
Maybe, okay, I get that story, but it's social because you have to interact with other people in order to do certain things, but
Are you making less friends playing Call of Duty?
I mean, you're definitely not making friends on Call of Duty.
See, exactly.
You're making enemies left and right,
I think the worst thing you ever said to a kid, okay, yeah, you're not making friends on Call of Duty, you know?
Exactly. Those lobbies are hideous.
What would you say is like the most like positively social game you've been a part of then?
Positive, like video game?
Yeah.
community-wise, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I mean,
because I think some of those video games out there are better than social media was at like getting people to interact and have meaningful relationships.
Well, I want to play VR chat, which is the exact opposite of what you just described. because it's people, you can make your body or whatever be anything pretty much that you want, and it's just people anonymous on the internet but on VR, like but in a bar maybe, or
so it's
wherever.
like you and Grand Theft Auto, but like you.
It's not that cool yet, but it's just people being their worst selves through the anonymity of the
It's like I have a 6-pack and I wear leather pants and I kick so much ass at the club. Like
there's that. There's poker VR. Those, I mean, the videos I've seen of that are hilarious. People just, they're really playing poker and really gambling. Really betting money. I'm pretty sure, and people will just join those games and just fuck with the other players.
Just to
and
make sure
they're trying to play poker, be real serious, and they're not having it. Like, dude, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna mute you right now.
That's the best you got for them. But like, if you take real money into online poker like that, then you definitely you're missing something in your reality that makes you want to be there, and you probably deserve to lose that cash.
I don't know, man. Reality's cool, but like,
Dude, okay,
beam me up, like hook me up, feeding tube.
No,
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for the Matrix. Sounds great.
Look, because you're not gonna have as many recharges as the EBL batteries that is bought on Amazon. Okay, like you're not gonna do well on a tube in an incubator. Just living that life.
Sounds pretty cool, though, if I could fly or something.
I think if our average life expectancy for, like, a healthy body that gets worked out, like, maybe you get to touch the upper 90s, maybe you get a little over 100 if you really crush it. You're just playing GTA, in a tube, just living your life like that. Maybe you get to be 40 before your heart's like, this sucks. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Probably. I guess laying in a tube for many years is not great for the body, but
yeah. But do you think the experience is going to be fickle in that kind of way, where it's like there's less humanity in AR?
People are going to long for the digital world more than the real world, for sure,
because of the many factors of stimulation and just the freedoms of it.
I mean, probably because there's little to no suffering in that digital world, right?
Is that true?
There's no global warming. Nobody's actually dying in that context.
That's an interesting conundrum. Are we interesting in just hiding from our problems? So, because like
exactly.
Yeah,
it's video games is classic escapism.
Yes, and if we can go full like augmented reality or virtual reality, then we won't even be aware when the meteor hits.
Yeah, you'll just be doing your thing and. VR?
Yeah. You'll disconnect for 15 minutes and realize the dinosaurs are back and shit's been weird out here. You want any more of that whiskey?
Yeah, I'll do another one.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It should not stay. It's got to go. My boy Aiden was talking about going to Rockefeller's today. I might need to get some Rockefeller's after this if you're interested.
I haven't eaten all day. Well,
shit.
I got some food at work.
Let's see. Well, we've been talking about 40 minutes, so I'm going to try to starve you out for maybe another 45, maybe 2 hours.
No worries. I have liquor now. I feel much better.
I got up at 5:30 this morning with them. That's when she goes into work. Just because, I wanted to show some camaraderie because I don't have to get up for nobody.
Did you hear that?
I work for the
Did you hear that, Sierra? What time did you get up with
5:30 a.m.
5:30 a.m. No, I'm just kidding.
I only do that once in a blue moon, and, all I do is make shitty jokes about her going to work and me not going to work, and then I make her some eggs.
That's pretty horrible. Like my girlfriend.
Oh no!
I wake up at about 7:30 to get to work at 8. My girlfriend sleeps into 9 or 10 or so.
Yeah,
and then works from home a bunch of the day and gets off around 5.
There's something about waking up at 9 that it's normally what I go for, but it doesn't make me happy. I like seeing the sun come up.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
I heard recently on Two Bears, One Cave that it's so good for your eyes if you see the morning sunrise as it comes on slowly because it helps to set your circadian rhythm.
I thought you weren't supposed to look at the sun.
This guy was preaching looking at the sun, and I was a little thrown off by that too, but I more just took the advice of when you feel the day start in that kind of a way, there is an intrinsic recognition of it has started. When the sun goes down, it is done, and you can start to wind down.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I always enjoy waking up on the days I have to wake up really early for something, I always feel good, like driving to wherever I'm going.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, still dark out, and you are gonna have the sun come up.
Yeah.
The worst is having some 9 to 5 during like daylight savings time. You go into work, it's dark. You work in a office all day with
no windows, no natural light.
And then by the time you leave there, it's dark again.
Yeah, man. That's why I can't imagine like these final frontier motherfuckers that live in Alaska, where it's like, how much of the year do you get 4 hours of sunlight? And you act like that's life?
Yeah.
It's cold and dark? Like, no!
I couldn't do it.
There's nothing positive for you up there at that point. I like seeing the sun come up after staying up through the night, maybe like 6 times a year at most. And that's a different kind of euphoric, where it's like, man, I need to get the fuck to bed, but this was beautiful. You know what I mean?
When you take drugs.
No. I mean, like, when we're driving back 4 hours from somewhere we played till 2. Whatever's in your system at that point is just a plus. But, like, normally that is the come down from whether you've been drinking or drugging or doing whatever you gotta do.
Anytime somebody says, oh, I was up last night till, if they say probably around 4 or 5 or 6, I'm going to call them out right there and be like, so what drugs you do last night?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you clearly had something going on. I think the funniest is the music festivals that will do, like, 5 a.m. DJ sets, and you go out there and you see the zombies, and you're like, this is what people look like when they're just, like, vacant, emotionally, but, like, the body's still rolling.
I mean, I've been there. This is a pretty fun time.
I don't like those sets,
I went to...
No one's dancing?
I went to a Mopop festival. Last night of the Mopop festival...
What's Mopop?
Well, it's no longer a thing, but it used to be a music festival in Detroit for, like, 4 or 5 years.
Like the predecessor to Electric Forest?
Is that in Detroit?
Yes.
No, I don't think... This is more like... That's more like techno EDM dance, right?
Yeah.
Electric Forest. Yeah, this is probably more... I'm trying to think who I saw there. I saw Bon Iver there, for example.
Nice. So indie alternative.
Yeah. And we went to that last night. It's all closing down. They're packing up and everything. And as you walk out, there was like this it was a safety DJ set. And it was basically for all the people that are still feeling their drugs that should not go home.
Yes.
We're just like under this very small tent with the DJ playing, and it was awesome. And there was a lot of people there.
Man,
they were dancing, and it was about like 4 or 5 a.m. probably.
That just made me think of the silent disco at Bonnaroo.
I love silent disco.
I do too.
Great idea.
Wait, it's such a weird thing music over loudspeakers is a shared experience. Music in your headphones is an incredibly personal experience. Like,
yep.
I'm starting to realize I should probably spend less time in my headphones listening to podcasts because it makes me less aware to the world around me. Like, Em will tap me on the shoulder, and I'll pretend like I know Kung Fu. Like I'm fucking terrified at that point.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, when I don't like those feelings of fear. But it's so interesting when you walk through a silent disco and people are just fucking bumping in there by themselves. And especially if you're on some kind of more intrinsic substance, like you are deep inside of your own being at that point.
For sure.
Any festivals you plan on going to this year?
Man, I don't go to festivals anymore. I feel like half the lineup I don't recognize or I'm not necessarily into.
Isn't that part of the purpose, though?
I mean, I don't know.
Like the deprivation from normality.
What are you going to?
I'm not going to anything right now. I'm trying to play more stuff. You know?
You play so
I'm playing
much.
Summerfest at in Milwaukee. If you want to come up for that.
What's the dates?
I don't. Maybe I'm doing July 7th.
I'm about to go on a multi-magic tour.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's going on with that band?
So they're recording. We're coming up with the release schedule for their next album, EP, LP.
That's awesome.
And then,
congrats to Korn.
Yeah, congrats, Korn. If things go without a hitch, hopefully, which they're coming up. We got a couple like 4 to 5 day stints, and then some more Weekend Warrior stuff at out of town places.
And then like that kind of venture is so epically chaotic every time. It's like, yes, you get better at it. Yes, you get more regimented about what you want to do, but your hopes and dreams for it very much affect how it feels when you're just grinding on the weekends and doing those things.
I feel like, I don't think they have high expectations, they have no expectations, which is good. Some shows might be great, some shows might be a flop. That's kind of how touring goes, especially if you don't have the greatest of days.
Yeah.
And it depends on what other talent's on the lineup for those local cities.
Yeah. I've been really trying to be better about cleaning up my regimen of how much do I want to be on the road and why am I on the road during those times, so I don't get negligible to the things that are important. It's like, of course you didn't break even tonight because you're out here trying to make fans in a place that you have none. Of course you didn't sell a lot of merch tonight because it's fans that you don't have. But the two that you did sell, the 2 T-shirts or the 2 posters or the 2 people that did come up and say something.
That's 2 fans. That's 2 people that are going to add your stuff on Spotify.
Exactly. And don't put a dollar amount on the things that you don't know. Like, that could be a fan that supports you till the end of your career. And the financial investment in that is infinite.
They might be the kind of person that, when they find a piece of music they really like, they send it to like 40 people right away. And those people are really receptive to that person's music choice. And you have no idea.
Do you think working in the world of bands made you more particular about the music you listen to?
Totally. I'm less interested in bands with... Now I'm kind of like that bougie music connoisseur that only wants to find the really underground bands, right? Because for me, the excitement lies in their story and their road to success. Like, most recent one I got into, probably my favorite band of this year or last year was Double Camp. It's a duo, really poppy, really dancey. That's kind of like Passion Pit and Still Woozy, but like it's really good. And they were really small when I found them. I don't even know where I found them exactly. I couldn't tell you, but I went to 2 of their shows. I got to meet them, and the show I went to for them was maybe a flop for them, probably compared to their other ones. I mean, I bought their tickets. I thought they were headlining. They weren't, because I bought them off their website, right? So their website isn't going to say that they're not the headliners. They're just going to list the tour that they're supporting as they're playing these cities. So, I went there. They were the opener, which was awesome for me as a huge fan already. And, there were like maybe 10 people there that were enjoying their set enough and met them and talked to them that it was definitely a net positive, but it wasn't, a rager by any means.
Totally. Well, it's interesting that you say that because your perception as a fan and their perception of an artist have generally nothing to do with each other. It's like it could be the biggest show or the smallest show. If you came in and you already loved those songs, just getting to be in the room for those songs already a momentous occasion. Do you look for something that's less popular because it's a place that you see yourself getting involved in? It's similar to the bands that you service?
I mean, probably not, but it makes it, in my head, I guess it makes it easier to go see them. It's going to be cheaper to go see them. Maybe I could, I told Double Camp, I met them, talked to them, and I asked them, what was your breaking point? What got you to this point? Because, you're obviously, I'm pretty sure you're under management. I'm pretty sure you have a booking agent, given just what I see as a fan.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember exactly what they said, but I want to know those things and I want to hear about it from them. So that's interesting. Another big one was like Ginger Root, who was, he's got quite a few streams, but I got to see him in I forget what city, but it was awesome. So those are the shows I'm really looking for. Like, what band am I really into that's available to tour this year?
Yeah.
So I bought tickets to Detroit. I bought tickets to the other place to go see Ginger Root, and there's a couple other ones.
Yeah, I think you touched on something special though, where it's like if you invest yourself in bands that are at a lesser known point in their career, one, they're going to be more grateful towards you for showing up. Like not only is that line shorter, but the amount of love they have to give per individual for you doing that is immensely higher.
I mean, you get to a certain point, they're not coming to their merch booth, right?
Yeah, well, it becomes impossible. It becomes like you either charge for the meet and greet or you don't do the meet and greet.
Yep.
But the in-between is very gray for a lot of major artists. But then you also just find like the access to ask those really personal questions that only you would wonder as someone that's been in bands and been involved in bands. It's like, I have something more specific in mind, and if this is a huge band, I'll never get the chance to actually pick at it myself.
Yeah, if you ask Coldplay, I mean, their road to fame is not going to be the same as anybody in Cincinnati that might make it, right? Like, it's just not, it's a different era, it's a different time, totally different story, like, and it's the trigger or the breaking point for any artist always seems just so vastly different.
Yeah.
Asking people about that.
Do you feel like after taking some time away from like heavily documenting bands, like you have more of an itch for doing that again?
Certain things definitely pique my interest, but being as it's more of a hobby now, it's probably, I can just, at this point I know I know Corin of Multi Magic, I know Bria of Bershey, and a couple other bands that I've met through other artists, and like I feel like I have enough to work on.
Yeah, there's enough projects to service if you want to come in and service.
Yeah.
But I think also like reigniting that itch demands a lot of things, and the first thing it demands is your availability to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like everyone feels stretched thin by their obligations to their own freedoms. It's like financial freedom comes at a cost of your time and your efforts.
Yeah. I think there's more capable people too that, will just do a better job. I do know what I know, but I'm not as great as telling a story through video. Maybe I can't storyboard an entire music video or something like that, but I mean, I can get you one song that looks really fucking good in one take, probably.
Well, I think it's good to err on the side of humble, but I think there's also no one that tells a story like any particular individual. Like everyone has a different idea of what's important for the end point in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when it comes to teams and getting that kind of development to happen between 5 or 6 people working on the same project, it's just about knowing what that one core piece is, and then let people decide what that will be for them. Or else you end up with everyone butting heads about what the important thing is,
Yeah. And I don't know, just something a good friend of mine said one time is like, a band takes a lot more than a guitar, bass, and drums, right? Especially in this day and age. You need a videographer. You need that person that's going to be there at rehearsal taking behind-the-scenes footage that maybe will never see the light of day anywhere. But if he's video recording, or they're video recording you, recording a song that then in turns up viral or very popular, they're going to be happy they got that. And so are you. And I think that's important, just as important as it is to have a photographer or, and I don't mean a hired gun. I mean somebody that's in the band. They're there to be part of the project. They're there to be part of something that's bigger than themselves. And it's not necessarily about the money, but they might want to ride that wave with you, because that's probably what it was for me.
Yeah.
Bands have
Genuinely
a potential for a big
interested.
wave, and I want to join you,
And when people are trying to find someone to get fired up about that enough, what do you think is like the most important thing for a band to have to offer someone with that kind of asset and gusto?
Man, I don't know, but I guess something that I got in the habit of asking bands that I really liked in the city, and I'm pretty sure I asked you this, pretty sure I asked Corin of Multi Magic, I'm pretty sure I asked Adam of Sunday Drives this when I first met him, all of you guys. It was, what are you trying to do with the band? Are you, is this fun, or are you trying to make it?
Mm-hmm.
What's your level of commitment to this music? And all these bands I would ask of originals, if you can't answer that question, it's not a great sign, right? Like, and not that I'm any great person or asset to work with, but like I want other people that have a high drive. They do want to make it. They want to, just break out in some way as an artist.
Yeah, I think there's certain experiences in your life that will drive what your expectations are for like really living hard, living on the edge, pushing. And some people that just pussyfoot around their passions, that err on the side of light-handed, tend to find themselves not making the kind of groundbreaking mistakes that they need to fall into motion of doing the right things. And that's hard for you to be the one to kind of turn them on to that question. But having folks like yourself in our community that are willing to say, like, what do you want from this? And if you can't tell me that right now, it's not the right answer. Like, that's that's a hard-nosed question that needs to get asked more. Because as Noah Smith has told me many times, like, this is not meant for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Because there's an infinite amount of incredible artists that are on time and in tune.
Yeah.
Right? And plenty of people would love that music. They just don't necessarily have the access to be made aware of it.
Yeah, man, that's brilliant. Well, I think there's also there's a side of this in the content where it's like every time you take the picture, every time you post the video, you have added to the almost permanent, unless we get our power grid wiped out, almost permanent record of who you are and what you're doing. And if people don't feel like at every step of the way that you're pushing to get better for them, they're going to lose interest. Mm-hmm. If I started following you 5 years ago and you haven't made that much improvement in 5 years, I will drop off. Versus for 5 years, I've watched you in the background of my life, just a passive listener, and I felt like you're kicking ass. Then I'm doubled down.
Yeah,
then I'm buying
exactly.
tickets for a third time.
Yeah.
I'm buying another T-shirt, even if I have another thing that looks like that T-shirt, because it's special.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more than it becomes a lot more than just being a fan, especially when you go to live shows and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think one thing that we can never get too caught up in is we can't get too caught up in staying grateful for folks like yourself in our community that one, dare people to step out on a limb and do some bold shit, but also provide the other parts of the medium to get you online, to push you into doing better content. Like, again, years ago you told me that this show needed these improvements, and since then I've been making improvements based on shit you handed me. That's been sitting in my basement.
You've come a long way, for sure.
I appreciate that, but most of all, I appreciate you in pushing myself and many of us to do that kind of shit.
I mean, the reason I stuck it out with you is because you had unlimited drive. There was nothing stopping Matt Waters from booking a show, making the drive, getting paid, writing this song, writing a letter to a fan, making a song for a fan. Like, you've done it all at a constant since I've known you.
I appreciate that, man. Well, I think, like, for me this year, I had this beautiful bed of content from the Sandown show, which was like, it's the night of our album release in a part of the country where I feel like I have no reason to have anyone that gives any type of a shit about me. But here's a backyard full of people that want to have the time of their lives at a Matt Waters and the Recipe Show. And if I don't feel like the luckiest guy in the world for that reason alone, I'm an idiot. But to have someone like yourself who says, like, not only am I interested enough in this band to sit in the car for 14 hours. I know you sat in armored vehicles for much longer than 14 hours, but still, it's such a pain in the ass. And it's like,
No, it was great every second.
Yeah, breaking down the next morning. It's like I had coffee in a bowl. It's like just talking. Like,
that's perfect.
Exactly. It is the kind of experience that we're both made for, and I appreciate you being here for every step of it, brother.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next.
Well, my friends, this is episode 101 of the Weekly Wave. That's Quentin Roberts. Anything you want to advertise to the people that you do magically?
I miss you all. Hit me up if you want to do something fun.
Gang. All right. We love you, players. Peace.